Goodbye. Okay, we are back at Made in Asia. There's so much content. There's lots of great speakers from all around the world. I'm delighted because I'm joined by our sourcing committee member, Alexia, and often I'm referred, of course, you can imagine, Beauty and the Beast, okay? That's how we are. But Alexia, why are you here?
So I'm here to introduce Caroline Tissot. Unfortunately, she's not here today with us because she was traveling, but I had the pleasure to interview her a few days ago and have her perspective on the transformation, the digital transformation at Accor, because of course I didn't say, she's the group CPO at Accor. So she shared with me as well the evolution of the function of procurement.
That's a great point. And I think one of the great things that Made in Asia is that we're not just talking about footwear and apparel. We are going across industry. You've heard today, we've heard from the consumer electronics, the technology, the industrial side of things. And I think getting a view from Caroline, no doubt there's going to be some great insights because the hospitality industry have really had to pivot and they've had to change the way they do business, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen,
thank you.
Please join us and check out this great video with the interview between Alexia and Caroline Tissot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anton.
Thanks.
Caroline Tissot, good afternoon. It's a pleasure to welcome you today at our annual event, Made in Asia. You currently hold the position of Group Chief Procurement Officer at Accor since 2016. And you manage an overall of $4 billion of purchase for more than 5,000 properties around the world. Prior to your role at Accor, you were the Chief Procurement Officer at Bouygues Telecom for 4 years. Accor is 39 brands in 110 countries, and I have read that a new Accor address opens every 2 days. So, Caroline, can you tell us more about your actual role and your company, please?
Sure. Thank you very much for welcoming me today to Made in Asia. It's a pleasure and an honor to be hosted. I'm very pleased to be with you. I'm so sorry I can't be live with you. It would have been nice, but that's the way it is today. So let's try it to do it by teams, if I may. So I'm currently what we call the Chief Procurement Officer for Accor, which means, in fact, that I have two different types of roles that I will explain later. Is I look after procurement for the 5,000 properties of the group all over the globe, and I also look after procurement for Accor headquarters in the world. So why do I make distinction? I think the first important thing to understand in Accor today is that we are an asset-light company. Accor, like our competitors, Marriott, Hilton, and the like, we don't own properties anymore. We don't own hotels. We are asset-light. What we propose to hotel owners is as a management contract or franchise contract, and we propose them with a bunch of services, among others procurement, but it's not our properties, okay? So it's very important to understand that because, for example, for procurement, when I say that, I buy, I don't buy. I will, reference contracts. I will reference product and services. I will negotiate contracts for the 5,000 properties all over the globe with my team. And I will communicate, advertise those contracts to the Accor properties, and they will buy from them. But the transaction will be between the supplier and the Accor property. Nothing to see with the Accor company. I don't know if it's clear, but I think it's very important to understand.
It's clear, and thank you for clarifying. So then, can you explain how procurement works within Accor Group?
Yeah, sure. So as I told you, there are really two different types of things. So today, we are a team of 200 people, and the majority of the team is working to deliver procurement services to the properties, to the Accor properties, to the 5,000 properties. So what we do is we will negotiate product and services properties. We will communicate them through an e-commerce platform to the different properties all over the globe. It's kind of an Amazon-like platform where the properties will find everything is needed today to operate: food, beverage, operating what we call operating, systems. So it's linen, kitchen, whatever you need to operate, amenities, whatever you need to operate your hotel, but also services. They will find services on this platform. They will find housekeeping services. They will find IT services, technical maintenance services, all that type of things. They will find it in the e-commerce platform, and they will, buy it from this platform through the suppliers. So this is the most important thing we do today. The most important part of what is procurement doing today in Accor.
Clear. So then, as data is the topic of today, can you tell us how it transformed your business?
Yeah, I think data totally transform our business. If you look at maybe if you turned back to 10 years ago, we were selling, or we were proposing between 3 and 4 billion of contracts a year to hotels with Excel file, emails, fax, and phones. And 4 billion of transactions was going through that channel. Today, it's totally changed. It's going through what we call marketplace, e-commerce systems. We're tracking, we're seeing, we know what hotels spend, we know what hotel buy, etc. So it's really coming from being blind to come to the light. So it totally changed the way we operate.
Did it impact the role, the function of procurement, having this in place?
Yeah. It really impacts our efficiency, of course. When we didn't have really much data or Excel file data or whatever, we were more guessing what hotel was needing, okay, than really understanding what they need. Now, because we have data, because we have electronic data, we have real data, we're able to much better understand what they buy, what they need, at what price they buy if they don't buy from us. And then we're much more clever in proposing different type of offers. So this is the first thing, for example, that our efficiency is much better than before. In terms of how, because your question was more how it changed, the team and what the team is doing, I think it really changed for all of us what we're doing. If you take the example of what we call a buyer or a commodity leader or whatever you want to call it, with different type of jobs they do, all of them now needs to include more and more, I would say, IT tasks, to say it with simple words, linked to this data world, links to the fact that everything now is digital with the suppliers and with the owners, with the customers. So they have a lot of IT daily tasks to make sure that the supplies that come from the suppliers is in line with the price they negotiated, etc. All type of things that they didn't do before. And this became so important in their daily tasks that we needed to invent new type of job. We need to split some job. We need did it, for example, to invent some, I would say, IT procurement admin people, that will help and support commodity leaders in some of their IT digital, tasks they have to do. But anyway, even if we split the task, for commodity leaders, for procurement leaders, it really changed their work. They had to work very differently and adapt very differently.
Sure, sure.
And it's a chance, by the way, it's a chance, because the more, they learn, the more they practice that. Let's say, for example, doing a tender online, doing any auction, using, RFP electronic tools, to say it differently. Now, most of what we do is done like that. If you look for a job tomorrow, it's always better as a buyer, as a commodity leader, to show that you're able to do that than saying that you're doing, tenders with emails and Excel, for example. So it's really very important for the employability also of your team. So I think it's good for everybody.
Sure. Well, then, because data requires significant investments, do you think that it's justified for small or medium-sized companies?
I think it's very much justified. In fact, if you don't invest on data, your competitors will do, and they will blow you out of the market. I can tell you, I have competitors, for example, that provide or try to provide procurement to Accor hotels. I also sell procurement, by the way, and my contracts and my offers to non-Accor hotels. In some countries, more than 25% of what I do, of my turnover, is done with non-Accor properties. So other hotels, golf club, restaurants, etc. So it's becoming a super competitive market. And all competitors are coming with e-commerce tools, digital tools. So it's true, I think, for everybody currently. All companies will have competitors, their size. So up to their size, of course, they need to, I think everybody needs to invest on digital. I think it's interesting, when you look at figures on B2B, it is said that the competitive company today invest at least 5% of their turnover every year on digital, So it's interesting benchmark to know where you are and where you should be. And to the questions, the naive question that your CFO will always ask you, because it's always the same, is, okay, so I give you 5% of your turnover to invest on IT, but when will it be finished? When it will be done, your system? Your IT system is never done. They need to understand that it's a recurring spend to stay up to speed. And this is very important, I think, to have companies to understand.
And people as well, to be trained.
Yeah, and to train people, of course, etc. But it's also a great way to retain talents. If you go for such projects, procurement people, procurement community. In fact, when I say procurement, it's very vague because it's very wide. You have some real procurement people, but you have sales procurement people, you have more digital procurement people, finance procurement people, etc. It's a whole community, a whole ecosystem. If you go to that type of projects, you will retain talent and you will attract talents, because this is for them the insurance to have a great employability tomorrow on the market. So this is what you deserve to your team today. And if you don't do that, I think we will lose, talent, which is really the war today, and which is the most essential thing in procurement. I think for me, it's talent. Maybe before digital, by the way. But to keep talent, you need digital.
True. Now, very interesting point of view. So if I may, just a last question. It's about Astor. So does it mean to stay within Accor in the future?
Very good question. It can sometimes be a debate, but definitely, there is a very strong need of Accor to be able to propose to owners, to customers, a very strong procurement offer. At the same time, it's true that because of this digital topic, we need a lot of capital, we need a lot of CapEx, we need a lot of OpEx to make sure that, as I told you, we grow and we develop as fast as our competitors. But my best guess is that it will stay in Accor because Sébastien Bazin, the CEO of the company, is super supportive of procurement. He loves it and he thinks it's very important service that we bring to owners. So I think and I hope it will stay in Accor.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Caroline, and have a good day.
Thank you very much, and have a very nice session, and I hope to be with you next year.
Yeah, I hope so. Bye.
Bye-bye.